What do you mean, not that Civil War? This doesn't have anything at all to do with Disney? You're sure about that? Well, okay. Every year, the Ralph V. Chisholm Park in Osceola County becomes home to one of the largest meetings of Civil War reenactors, reenacting a battle that never occurred. Located on Chisholm Park Road, which is off of Narcoossee Road, all you gotta do at that point is follow the signs to the battle.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. We'll see you coming in.
All right, thanks.
Be forewarned, the roadway in is pretty washboarded and it will take its toll on your back.
Yeah.
Straight down to the end of the road, and we've got down there. He'll put you on the fence line.
All right, thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And well, no, they didn't put us on the fence line because there weren't any more spots there. They did give us a spot pretty close up to the front. They did have us pull all the way through, but the car they pulled in after us pulled in too close to my wheelchair ramp, and we had to move the vehicle in order to get the wheelchair back on at the end of the day. When you get to the front gate, you'll pay your $7 admission fee, and they'll give you a handy guide that includes the times guide and a handy map of all the locations of the battlefield and the encampment sites. And wheelchair users, don't go it alone because you will be encountering some sugar sand during your visit. And unlike at Disney, here at the reenactment, you enter through the gift shop, where they have authentic clothing available, some handiwork, and of course, the first thing I found was the fire station. And a lovely couple I met inside told me how long it took them to find the parts to make the handcrafted hand pumper that was inside. Yes, it worked. And then it was time for the battle to begin. The Union Army took the field. These were the men of the 4th Brigade, U.S. Company A of the 75th Ohio, Company F of the 3rd Maine, 17th Connecticut Infantry, the 13th Kentucky Infantry, and Company K of the 47th New York Infantry. All reenactors who'd spent their own money to come all the way to Florida to face a far larger force and a pretty strict authenticity inspection. And as Confederate commanders met to discuss their strategy, the Union side sent out their first picket line. And as the Confederate dispatch riders arrived, the Union Army artillery opened fire. be quickly answered by the Confederate artillery. And somebody's little yappy dog.
The house.
Then the Confederate forces arrived to get their marching orders. The 2nd Florida, Company E, 3rd Florida, Companies A, B, and C, 7th Florida, Company K, 8th Florida, Companies B, C, and G, 28th Georgia, Company K, the 10th Tennessee Morton's Battalion, and the 1st Brigade of the Provisional Army of the Confederate States. They had artillery support from B Battery of the 2nd Florida Light Artillery, and cavalry support from the 2nd Florida Cav and the 4th Alabama Cav. Like I said, a far superior force. And also, reenactors with a far shorter distance to travel. And it wasn't long before the two sides were marching to face one another. The two sides seem to be slugging it out pretty well, but with the arrival of reinforcements on the Confederate side, the Union Army began a bit of a tactical withdrawal. But now apparently more Union forces were coming out of the woods and forcing the Confederates back from that side. As the fighting raged on, members of the Medical Corps started to arrive on the field. These were reenactors of the 2nd Florida, the 47th New York Medical Corps, and Hardee's Medical Brigade. The two sides met in the middle of the field for massed volleys and more artillery. The Confederate forces try one more attack, but they're driven back by the approaching Union cavalry. With the fighting only separated by feet, the casualties start to rise. Even as the artillery fire continues, a dispatch rider is sent out with one message: withdraw the forces. The Confederate forces regroup for one final stand.
This guy over here has lost his weight. Yeah, it's a scratch.
Quickly, the Union forces are on them, and the final battle begins. The last of the Confederate reinforcements arrive.
Yes, it does. It doesn't go like this. No, it doesn't. It goes in the back.
It would have been real easy to lose yourself in the moment, except for when the drone arrived over the field.
Drone.
I made sure not to get any pictures of it, although I kinda would like to see the footage from it. Now the two sides are a mere 100 feet apart. They face each other with rifles raised. Okay, well, I'm not going to tell you how it ends. You have to go. It happens every year during March for a weekend. Just look it up. Now for all the wheelchair stuff. I found no shortage of places to plug the chair in case it got low, which it does. There were actually, in addition to the regular restrooms at the park, there were handicap accessible porta potties that were clean and actually usable. I could get my wheelchair in here if I needed to. And for those of you who find yourself offended by such things, don't go. There is a monument to the Confederate dead, and they did have the Florida Confederate Memorial traveling wall there. If you're planning on going to see the encampment, you better have one of those beach chairs, because the only way through there is sugar sand down by the beach, and you're not going to make it with a regular wheelchair. And as a history major, yes, I know there was no battle at Narcoossee Mill, but I found the whole thing fascinating. It was a good study in strategies and tactics of the Civil War. The uniforms were authentic, the ladies who showed up dressed in period clothing were authentic. I got to meet some really nice people. I found out that if you're going to record with pivot head glasses, you can't record with your camera at the same time, and you really do need to be on the front row. There was enough artillery fire to keep things exciting. The uniforms were very authentic. They did an inspection before they were allowed on the field. Although I still don't know what side this guy was on. Okay, yeah, I'm going to give this one a thumbs up for next year, although I couldn't find out next year's dates yet. Parking was free. Admission was $7 for adults, $5 for children, 5 through 12. And there are cannon and musket demonstrations throughout the day, as well as living history exhibits and children's activities. There are authentic Union and Confederate encampments, but as I say, they are inaccessible to most wheelchairs and scooters. There are 20 vendors and settlers, as well as food and non-alcoholic drinks available. Period music is also performed live on stage, but I'd arrive early for bleacher seating, and remember that bleacher seating, it's all unshaded. Gates open at 9:30 a.m., but for more information you're going to need to check back at their website, www.battleatnarcoossee.com, throughout the year to find out more information. And as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next side trip.